Welcome to the DAMES webinar series. At DAMES, Differently Abled Mothers Empowerment Society, we aim to empower mothers with educational resources like the one you are watching today. I hope you enjoy this webinar on Daring Adventures and that you join us for more in the future. Hello, DAMES members. Welcome to the DAMES webinar series. We're so happy to have you here. Today, we have Sarah Lindvay from Daring Adventures, and we are so excited to hear all about Daring Adventures and what it has to offer this community. I met Sarah, I think, was it maybe in February before the pandemic really kind of hit. We sat down and met, and I was blown away by what Daring Adventures does. Sarah has a bachelor's in recreation therapy and is a certified disability sports specialist, which is absolutely amazing. I grew up in a house that was really focused on rec and how important recreation is. And I think when we have a child with a disability, sometimes we feel like those opportunities are not open to our children. So I love companies like yours and charities like yours that focus on getting our kids out there and focus on letting them have the same opportunities that everybody else does, especially in rec and especially outdoors. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so excited to get to tell you guys about Daring Adventures. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to kind of go over this presentation that I have for you guys. And I will kind of try to go over it and answer any questions that you guys may have had about it. And I'll kind of go over our programs and our history and what we kind of have hopes for the future. Alrighty. So our mission is improving the quality of life for people with disabilities and significant life challenges through the power of outdoor recreation. Really, our organization kind of has changed throughout the years, where we really try to serve people of all abilities, both visible and invisible disabilities, and then really try to promote an inclusive cultures where their families can come join in our activities, their friends, and just everyone can, regardless of ability, can experience the beauty and power of nature. Our values are that we provide access to recreation, different types of recreation, and then access to public lands, whether that's parks, rivers, trails, and different facilities. We empower individuals to meet new challenges. So we have our members create goals for themselves, and we motivate them to continuously become more independent and impact their quality of life overall. And we transform their lives with self-confidence and self-empowerment. Our individuals feel inspired and feel motivated leaving our programs, and it really transforms their lives to really kind of take on things head on. We have a huge, rich history, especially with the city of Phoenix. We started right after the heels of the American with Disabilities Act was passed. And in 1992, a river guide came down to the city of Phoenix and wanted to take people with disabilities on the Colorado River. And at first the city was like, this is too dangerous. We're not so sure about this. We're not so sure if these people can do this or can handle this. And we had a really progressive city manager at the time, Frank Fairbanks. And he said, this is the right thing to do. We have to do this. People without disabilities can do it. People with disabilities can do it too. We got to make sure that this happens. And that's kind of how we were created. And we had in 1992 our first river trip with adults with disabilities on the Colorado River happened. And that really started everything. So in 1993, we became a 501c3 so that we can create more funding sources by being able to apply for grants to be able to fund different river trips or different programs. And we saw the power of the river So we created River Rampage, which was for youth. We had an adult program, so why not have a youth program and get them a little bit younger? And with this, we kind of created more of a mentoring, because as you're younger, you need to be more mentored on healthy risk taking, what your capabilities are, what you can do, and pretty much what is outside of the four walls that you're always in at home. A lot of the kids that come to us and they've never been away from home, they've never been swimming, never been out of maybe depends ever in their lives. And it really helps them grow into adults. They come out of this program feeling like, I can do anything. So once that happened, they drank from the Kool-Aid and they wanted more. So in 2000, we went to year-round activities, and then in 2008, the recession hit, kind of like what we're going through right now, and the city cut their adapted side of their recreation program, and we became a standalone nonprofit. And since then, we've been still serving people year round, every year. In 2015, that's when we had our first hired staff, and we served about 1,400 people. And then in 2019, fast forward, we are serving now more than 7,000 people in 2019. And that was in our adaptive recreation program. We're serving about 1,400, but we also added in our school-based program and our healthy day programs, which really kind of bumped in our numbers, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But who we really serve, um, we provide inclusive programs for individuals with all types of disabilities. So social, emotional, cognitive, and physical challenges, and those who are deemed at risk. We know now that almost everyone is at risk, and almost anyone could have a disability. I mean, think about before the pandemic, and then now after the pandemic, we have all these people that now have more problems than, and they never would have if this pandemic didn't happen. So we're really for everyone. So now we do have some entrance and exit criteria, but if they do and don't meet some of the entrance criteria, it's not that we don't let them participate. We just make sure that maybe they bring a caregiver with them, or that they bring a family member or a guardian to provide some of their needs. So with reasonable accommodations, participants must be able to follow directions, communicate, use restroom independently, and demonstrate appropriate behavior. We know that, some participants may have, all of these down. Some participants may have only difficulties in some of these areas. So we do make a lot of exceptions depending on who the person is. But we also may ask a caregiver to be brought, and that may not mean that the caregiver has to provide 100% of the care. We definitely have volunteers there to provide the activity-based, but if they were need to use the restroom or change their clothes, that is something that we would ask a caregiver to come on and do for us. So now I would like to share a video with you, and I'm going to stop share, because before I go into talking about program, I want to give you kind of more of a visual of our programs, and really that can show you so much more than what I can say.
Is either a daring adventure or nothing.
The beauty of Daring Adventures is we provide outdoor recreational activities for individuals with disabilities and other life challenges.
All about the power of the outdoors. Our mission statement is improving the lives of people with disabilities and significant life challenges through the power of the outdoors. Daring Adventures is that reminder that all of us have a full right to be participants in life's adventures.
Awesome, thank you. So that is just like a video of all of our different programs, really kind of shows you them. And I'm going to talk about those programs, And then I'm going to talk about fast forward to kind of now and how we're running programs and what programs we're offering currently. So our adaptive rec programs are typically our core programming. So this is kayaking, cycling, and hiking. And these are the programs that are definitely here to stay and hopefully are going to be the first programs that are going to be offered once we start in-person programming again. But we do a lot of kayaking, and we take our members through the kind of levels of kayaking where we teach them how to use their paddle, and we teach them how to kayak on standing water and still water. And then also we take them on a little Colorado River as well for some moving water adventures. And then we do cycling. We're going to be starting cycling. Typically we did cycling at Rose Mofford, but now we're going to be moving our program up to our office location, Telephone Pioneer Park, and we're going to be cycling around the park. We do a lot of different activities with cycling too, like red light, green light to work on the brakes. We also do up and over the hill to help participants kind of really work on acceleration and deceleration, going up and over hills and down through underpasses like we know we have on the canals over here in Arizona. And then we're also going to be doing cycling events, hopefully back down at Rose Mofford on the canals where we can cycle to a location and possibly have a party. And those are going to be for mainly our longer cycling rides that we're going to hold as events. And then hiking, we do hiking all around the valley on fully accessible trails to mild accessible trails. We also have had some special hiking events where we've hiked down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon for a fundraiser. That was for this boy right here in the picture. It was because he wanted to be able to put his feet into the Colorado. And then we've also done one with another different hiking apparatus that we have, and we took a man who had ALS up Camelback Mountain last year. So we do a lot of different things all around the valley for hiking. Some of our additional recreation programs, and these don't happen as often as our core programs. So we do sled hockey. We do this up at the Ice Den in Scottsdale. We are the founder of the Arizona Sled Hockey Coyotes program, and we still serve as a feeder today. So in the summers, we often hold clinics with them to kind of bring new people to the sport and bring new athletes to their team. We do cross-country skiing. We do this typically when it has snow. So cross-country skiing is on flat land, and it uses a sit ski like you can kind of see in the upper right corner. And we allow stand-up skiers and sit skiers. We also, they also allow people to snowshoe, or you can just come up for our winter experience. Maybe you've never seen snow before. Some people from Arizona haven't. So it's just a fun experience to learn the sport or to get out and have a winter experience. We had some people really like it, and then I had one participant who was really excited, and she ended up doing snow angels, and we made a snowman that day. So it was a lot of fun. So there's a lot of different things we can do. We do camping. Typically, we do camping in the summer or multi-day trips. We always do camping, like adventure camping, once or twice. We've done camping at Camp Collie, and we always go to the Grand Canyon once a year. And then sometimes during the spring, we do camping trips here at the Gilbert Riparian Preserve. And that's just like a one-night camping trip, really to ease people into camping. They're not too far from home in case they need to leave. But it's like a camping 101. Like I would really like to go tent camping, but I'm not so sure. And then we do the Phoenix Summit Challenge. This is an awesome event. We are still doing this year. Registration is open currently, and I will kind of explain that and all the way at the end of what it's going to look like. But originally, the Phoenix Summit Challenge is an all-day event where our participants, well, the city of Phoenix hikes 7 summits, but they also have an options of the Phoenix 4 and the All Abilities Trails. And we we head up both a group for the Phoenix Four and the All Abilities. And our Phoenix Four are some participants that are on the next level. And then our All Abilities are 4 different all accessible trails, and they hike that in one day as well. It's going to be a little bit different this year, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then again, I was kind of talking to you guys about our flagship programs. So these are programs that started River of Dreams for Daring Adventures. And that was River Rampage, which we still have today. And that is on the San Juan River. It's a 6-day trip where teens learn how acceptance of their self and others. They learn healthy risk taking and coping strategies and problem solving skills. They also get to learn a lot about nature, and they get to see a lot of different ruins and stuff like that, and petroglyphs. And then we still have Mainstream Expedition, which is that adult trip on the Colorado River, either from the Grand Canyon or through Cataract Canyon. And this trip is more of a bucket list trip, not so much of a mentoring trip like the teens, but this is the, okay, you think that you can't do this, but absolutely you can, and we're going to show you that you can. So now kind of fast forward to health, we have all of these different activities, and sometimes we still had our equipment that was still sitting when we weren't running programs. Well, we wanted different organizations and agencies to use our equipment as well, so that they can expand their recreational services that they're currently offering to their participants currently. So we created Healthy Day Recreation, and this is our program where we collaborate with different agencies, different organizations, different outpatient clinics, schools, and we really provide our core programs to their members. So we partner with Arizona Spinal Cord Association. We partner with Ability 360. We partner with Barras, and we do a hiking program where we hike all around the state, and we transport participants up there to hike, and we use our equipment. And we all have different parts to make the program kind of go. So it's basically an awesome way for outreach of our programs. And then last year, we really started Respite Recreation. So Respite Recreation is basically our programs through DDD where we provide respite and habilitation services. And we try to move passive respite from passive recreation to active recreation. We saw a lot of our members that were receiving respite services going to the movies or sitting at the mall or going to the park and not really using the park and just sitting with their caregiver at the park. And then we also saw a lot of caregivers weren't really given the tools to be able to help their members with their goals. So we have a rec therapist, which is me, that is able to help assess the members, really get them active it gives their family a break during respite while their members are getting active. And then also they can use our recreation programs to work on different habilitation goals. Now, if you're wondering, certain people have habilitation goals that may not be able to directly relate to outdoor recreation. Maybe they have a goal that is they're working on healthy eating strategies. Well, that's when I talk to them about, what kind of things do you like to eat? Well, how can we make that more healthier while I'm kayaking with them? It kind of allows them to become more mindful of different things while doing something fun. We also talk about healthy eating at camping where they get to make their own plate. Well, they get to make their own food at camp. So then we can kind of talk about, what are healthier options while we're at camp or at lunch. So we just try, or stranger danger. We work on stranger danger about cycling, If you're cycling a little bit far ahead, you're not going to be talking to strangers that come up to you. Or when we pass the street, we need to look both ways and we need to hit the button. So sometimes, we have parents that come to us and say, their goals are this. How is your program going to be able to help goals? Well, there are some goals that maybe self-care, grooming goals that we can't work on sometimes unless we're on camping season. But there are a lot of goals that can be achieved through our program for their ISP. And then last year as well, we started the Therapeutic Inclusive Recreation Program. And this is a collaborative grant with the Arizona State University. And it's really a grant that is looking at expanding therapeutic and inclusive recreation programs in Arizona schools and what that would look like to foster a sense of belonging and valued involvement among all students. Basically, to create a positive school culture and an inclusive school culture. And we've basically, what we did is we went into schools, assessed what their inclusive culture was, assessed what their recreation culture was in terms of inclusion, and then we created a practicum experience for PT students, rec therapy students, nonprofit students, kinesiology students, public health students, any students that basically would benefit or would work with youth with disabilities, at-risk youth, or youth in general in the future, and created this interprofessional team to serve these students in these 2 different school districts that we were in. And last year we were in Madison #1 school district, and this year we're in Village Meadows school district. Both are Title I schools. And we basically implemented a wide range of activities based upon the school's need and the students' needs and the amount of support, resources, and recreation opportunities that were available at both schools. So, we were at a school that had a lot of clubs, a lot of opportunities, and at that school, we really provided basically just inclusive, structured opportunities at recess. And then we went into their special education classrooms and taught the skills that they would need to participate in the activity that was going to happen at recess for that week. So we would go in, teach recess. So say we're teaching disc golf. The week prior to that, I went into that school's special education classrooms and I taught those students how to throw a Frisbee. And I taught them how to catch a Frisbee, taught them the rules. So then the next week, they either knew that they could come to me if they needed support because I already taught them the rules and they know that I'm their support because we made that connection, or they already had those skills from their pre-teaching to participate inclusively with their peers with minimal support. And then also we were at another school where we identified that there were social emotional needs of the students that weren't being met. Maybe that was at home, maybe that was at the school, and it was also maybe the social emotional needs of the teachers that weren't being met. So maybe that was also the reason that the social and emotional needs of the students weren't being met at the same time. So what we did for that is we really started small group instruction of social emotional skills, focusing on self-management, social skills, self-awareness, problem-solving skills, and relationship skills. And what we did for this was we made it a peer mentoring small group. So we referred the kids where we identified had these needs, and then we referred the kids that identified that they were exceeding expectations on the social emotional levels. So we brought them into a small group together and we would focus on those social emotional skills and then integrate them into all of their peers out at recess so that we could see if their social emotional skills were improving. And then we also have started teacher trainings to help them on how to handle, students that are dealing with, social emotional needs or not having basic needs at home, and how to make sure that you can provide or create an interpersonal or therapeutic relationship with your students, because those is what the teachers were struggling with. And then the whole project actually helps with community integration. It gets those students connected to people like DaringAdventures, like DAMES, and like other organizations in our disability resource connection, and which I'm going to talk about next. So Daring Adventures funded this group of organizations, hopefully going to be an organization solely eventually called the Disability Resource Connection. And that was really because me and my boss, we really saw this huge gap of services and resources and awareness beyond the whole community, whether that was awareness from a family, individual standpoint, or awareness from a organization standpoint of, I don't know what's all out there that I can market also for my participants, and I don't know what's out there for myself. Like, we don't need to recreate the wheel, and we just need to kind of collaborate and work together. So basically, we're a group of organizations of over about 45 different organizations that collaborate together to really work on closing gaps of services and issues in the community relating to the inclusive community of people of all abilities and all life challenges. So I really wanted to kind of go into our recreation model here at Daring Adventures, because I move people through a continuum. So what that kind of means is I work with people of all types of disabilities, and we really meet them where they're at and what they need. So in our cycling group, I might have very, very independent, avid cyclers, and I might have someone that's still working on clenching, grasping the brake to be able to brake, or being able to be strong enough to hand cycle, or maybe get that flexibility in that range of motion. So we really meet them where they're at, and we have different tier levels. So we may have some people that are staying on the track and cycling around and really just working on functional skills, when we have participants that are graduating from our program, going out, buying their own cycle, and going and doing a triathlon, or going and cycling the canals on their own. But they might be like, okay, well, I've learned how to cycle now, but I want to learn how to kayak, and I don't know how to kayak. Well, then they can come right back through our continuum, and we can basically go through this huge continuum where we teach them all their functional skills they need, teach them all the equipment they need, teach them where they can do it and how much it's going to cost. And then they can kind of graduate and use us as a social support to kind of be more independent. And that's our whole goal, is to help them become independent and improve their quality of life. We have a variety of different adaptive equipment for your children to use, and also for you to use as well, because we want you to be basically coming in and participating in our programs and getting the benefit of the outdoors as well. So we have trekking poles, safari chairs. We have a grit wheelchair, which is basically a wheelchair that is lever propelled. So if they don't have that rotational movement, that they can go like this, and it's more of a lever, and it actually assists them and gets them moving a little bit faster. We have a trailblazer for someone that needs complete total support of upper and lower extremities. We have off-road walkers. We have kayaks that are tandem kayaks, so you and your child can be in a kayak at the same time. We have sit on top kayaks that are easy, so that if they were to tip over, they're not going to get stuck inside the kayak. We have padding for people that may need padding for, someone that has easy breakdown of skin. We have different kayaking gloves to help with grasp and grip. And we have angle oars, which is angle oar basically is an oar that is attached to the kayak. And if you put light pressure on it, you don't even need to grip it, but light pressure on it, it will actually kayak the kayak for you. And then we have sled hockey sleds, which are those sit-down skis, sleds, just the same as the sit skis in those pictures I showed you. We have a wide variety of equipment for camping, for all of your camping needs. We have a wide variety of cycles. We have hand cycles. We have recumbent hand cycles. We have adult tricycles. We have tandem cycles. we're actually buying a recumbent tandem trike. We have tadpoles. So we basically have a bike for anyone of any type of ability. And then we also always bring different things to adapt on our fly to make sure that we can account for all needs. A lot of our participants, we know that the outdoors provides so much impact, and I'm just going to go over a couple of these different impacts that your child will be able to get from receiving any of our services. But it helps reduce anxiety and increase their mood. It provides greater self-esteem and overall life satisfaction. It helps with mindfulness and attention and concentration. It improves planning, scheduling, and sequencing. It gives improved social communication, and it provides opportunities for social engagement. And a lot of it, they really reap a lot of physical benefits. It helps them increase their endurance, their strength. It really promotes an active lifestyle. We know that people with disabilities can live more of a sedentary lifestyle and really can suffer from comorbid issues. So it really helps them maintain their physical functioning and increase their physical independence in their lives. And I just wanted to kind of go over some of our participants' goals so you know like what our members are getting out of our programs. So our members are really looking to improve their activities that they participate, to decrease their social isolation and get out and get their family members also involved, to increase their physical activity, to improve their mental health, feel of belonging, so that sense of community that we offer, overcoming obstacles, building a community, and experiencing new experiences, learning how to communicate better with others, learning how to increase their physical activity and increase their confidence in health, and to make new friends, see new places, and learn new skills. So our in-person programming is coming back, hopefully January of 2021. That's our estimated time of arrival of programs. We do offer virtual programming. So since the pandemic has hit in March, we started March 17th on our weekly virtual programming. And then since our programming for schools has started basically ramping back up, we've gone to our monthly virtual programming. Our last virtual program was on Tuesday. We had a Mexican fiesta live in Choya Bay, Mexico, where we partnered with a restaurant that made homemade chili rellenos and homemade tortillas. We're having our next virtual program on November 10th, where we are partnering with Central Arizona Mountain Rescue, which we've partnered with them before in an event right here, where we took our trailblazer and a guy with ALS up Camelback Mountain to renew his vows with his wife. And they're going to come on and they're going to really talk about all their different field of operations, all their different rescue missions that they do, what type of staff that they have on all these different rescue missions, and the equipment and training that they go through and they use to be able to save others' lives if they're stuck on a mountain, or to save an animal. They may have to save a person from a wild animal. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We do all of our virtual program via Zoom, and I'm going to go through our calendar in just 1 second to show you where those things are. And then our other virtual programming, and our only virtual programming that we have going on right now, is our virtual Phoenix Summit Challenge. And this is our event with the city, and the city is still putting this on, and they're doing it interactive and virtual. So what that is you're going to have 7 days to complete a predetermined amount of steps. And they're basically taking the Phoenix 7, the Phoenix 5, the Phoenix 4, and the all abilities, which are all the different ones that they have, and the mile amountage of what it typically is, they're doing it as they're converting that to steps. So ours was 12.3 miles for the All Abilities Trails, and we had to do that in 1 day. So it's going to be even a little bit easier for our participants because now they have 7 days to complete the predetermined amount of steps that it would be to complete 12.3 miles. And the cool thing that it is about it is they can complete this anywhere. So they complete this on the accessible trails around the valley. They can complete this in their neighborhood, rolling through their neighborhood. They could complete this at the gym. They could complete this at the mall. Like maybe they have errands. Well, let's walk around or roll around a couple more times, get a couple more laps in, get a couple more steps in. And they use this app called Walker Tracker. And you can see all the different people that signed up for the Phoenix Challenge and where they're at on the Phoenix Summit Challenge by using this app. And I've already looked, and they can use this app to track their steps as well. I've already looked, and I've already contacted Walker Tracker, and it will pick up rolling steps, and it will pick up bicycling steps as well. So they also have the option to roll and to bicycle. So they also have the option to go online if they don't have a smartphone or they don't have like an Apple Watch, Fitbit, Google Fitbit, or whatever. They have the option to go online. Maybe that's using their personal computer or using a computer at the library, anywhere that has internet access, to go on the Walker Tracker website to manually enter their steps. Maybe they have a Fitbit that doesn't have like a Bluetooth connection, or they have an old pedometer, because some of us still rock the old school style, which we also, Daring Adventures, will be offering free equipment rentals on all of our hiking equipment. And also we are getting rentals for pedometers as well for anyone that may need to use a pedometer that doesn't have access to the other technology needed to participate in this event. If you want any more details on this event, we're actually, for Daring Adventures members and for anyone that registers with us, we are actually going to be having an orientation on Monday to kind of give them more details and work through the information a little bit, because we don't want anyone to be confused about what's going on. So that's kind of our only program that we got going on right now. So I'm going to leave you with, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And I hope that you guys have loved my presentation and that you really go to our website, and I'm going to show you that right now, and look at our programs and get involved. Because remember, all good things are wild and free. I noticed that this morning, and I really truly believe that the wilderness provides so much for us. So I'm gonna go to our website real quick, and I'm just going to kind of show you where our calendar is and where you can sign up for your programs. So this is our website. Can you see this? Okay, sweet, awesome. And it has basically all about our website, our history, our staff, if you want to know more about that, about our different programs, how you can get involved. Our participant registration and volunteer registrations are on there. And then our calendar. You can access a calendar view that has a full calendar on it, or you can access it in a list view, whatever is easier for you. So I'm going to show the list view right now. So as you can see, we had our DA virtual adventure last week. This is our WOW Wednesday, our therapeutic inclusive programs at this school. And there is that virtual PSC. And it has all that same information that was on that slide. So if you couldn't read that slide, you can go right here, and it has all that same information. It has a link to register and a link to the orientation meeting on the 26th. Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you, Michelle. And I hopefully that we can get some of your guys as participants to come participate in some of our programming.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. This was really enlightening. And I feel like as we come out of COVID, we are just going to be yearning for this kind of rec to get out of
Right.
the four walls that we've been sitting in and to look at some sunshine and to get out and be physical because I feel like we're all just stifled right now. So, thank you for showing us what is possible at Daring Adventures for the future when we get out of COVID.
Absolutely. I hopefully we won't have to be stuck inside much longer and we can get out there and get into the outdoors.
Yeah. Olivia, you can chime in if you have any questions. I did have some as you were going through your presentation. So you have a snow program. Where is that? Is that at Snow Bowl or is that at Sunrise?
So actually it's at neither. So we do cross country skiing. So we do, flat ground skiing and we actually run our program out of the Nordic Center.
Oh,
That's also where we run a backpacking program sometimes when we do backpacking. It's awesome because it's just a huge trail system and there's a bunch of different little yurts that you can also rent out to be able to stay up there if you guys would like that. We always allow our members to have that option as well. And it has like a little lunch area, so we always make a huge fire and make chili out there, and we all sit around there. So it's really awesome, and it really provides a little space kind of away from all of the big major areas that have a lot of people accessing it. It
oh,
just
that
is all
sounds
in a little area.
that's awesome. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm always amazed. I'm an Arizona native, but then like you hear about these centers, and I'm like, where is the Nordic Center? I've never heard of it, so I can't wait to go and like do
It's
research
really
and
close to it's really close to a Snow Bowl in Flagstaff.
okay, so you mentioned camping that you guys always do a camping trip to the Grand Canyon. Do you go down the canyon or are you camping on the surface?
So we do our Grand Canyon camping trips both on the North Rim and on the South Rim. And our days are full of hiking all the way around on the surface and then seeing all the different viewpoints and doing some of the other hikes. And then we also do take on the South Rim, we do hike down to the first like part of the little bridle trail, down to the first little outlet,
Mhm.
just to kind of get people a view from inside of the canyon. Um, some of our participants hike a little bit further, really just depends on their levels, but we don't typically hike all the way down. That's just because we don't have a lot of time. Um, on the North Rim, there's actually a lot more of different hiking trails out there to do than there is on the South Rim. On the South Rim, there's just the main rim trail, and there's not a lot of other side hikes. So we do actually do a lot more side hiking on the North Rim, and then we go down to a point where it's like a landing, but not as farther down into the canyon as we do when we go to the South Rim to camp.
How fun is that? That's really cool. And when you do like the longer camping trips or the river rampage, a lot of that is without parents, right? I mean, the whole point is to kind of get these individuals to be a little bit more independent and to have that tether cut, I
Yeah,
guess,
so our
from the
river
parents.
Yeah, so our river trips are typically we don't allow typically siblings to go together. We typically don't allow parents to go, especially on the youth river trip. But that's really because a lot of different ways, One, we want them to grow into themselves and grow outside those four walls and basically become more independent on their own. So that's kind of why we don't allow parents, and also because we don't kids act differently around their parents,
Yeah.
and we want to see who they really are. And also sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes parents can be the problem to a lot of the children's issues, whether it's just enabling them to be more dependent on them, or
Yeah.
maybe it's a more of a domestic issue that the child's not able to share because the parent is there and not able to work through. So there's a lot of different reasons why we don't allow that. And then also siblings, we've allowed some siblings in the past, but that was because of those siblings, they were both in a really, they came to us in a domestic violence situation, and both of them are going through the same thing, and they kind of grew as brothers together.
Aw.
So it it really it really helps the growing process to kind of just allow them to work on that on their own. But for our other camping trips, typically we do allow family. We have camping trips, and then we have family camp where families can come along, and that's when we really nurtured that family atmosphere. You know, there's two different atmospheres we like to nurture. The independent atmosphere where you can do these things, and you you don't have to always depend on mom and dad, and this is who you can also call for support. Because even with some of our older members, they're calling us like, we can't get onto Zoom for other things, and it's like, okay, we can help you this time, but we need you to find other people to also support you. And where can you go for these other supports, you know, and if you don't have support of mom and dad to be able to do these things. So yeah, and then also when we go camping to like culture that family atmosphere, it's really like, you know, making a fire together, making dinner together in a camping atmosphere that maybe the whole family is not completely comfortable with. And we're there to help them get more comfortable with that camping experience.
I love that. Yeah, because if you don't grow up in a camping house, like it could be kind of overwhelming
To take your whole family camping.
to take your whole family I mean, even if you have typically developing children, it can be terrifying, you know, and then you
Right.
throw on the complexity of having I have two children with autism. We just got back from a camping trip because that's what we do. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of prep, and it's a lot of like minding where they are and setting those boundaries. But I mean, Jackson had so much freedom this last trip. You know, we were letting him go up and down and, you know, have that dignity of risk. And I
Right.
think that that's so important. I love that some of your programs you kind of take the parents away so that the children have a little bit more dignity of risk and
Right.
allowing them to push their boundaries and see what they're capable of. That's absolutely amazing. That's all the questions that I have, and I'm just in awe of what you guys do and how you transform lives really through recreation, because that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all of the work that you do, Sarah, and I really look forward to sharing this with everybody and participating. Like, I cannot wait for programs to come back up so that
I
we
know.
can.
I'm so excited. I
I
haven't,
really,
well, I've gotten outdoors, but it's also been so hot here in Phoenix that I haven't been able to get outdoors enough. So I'm excited.
yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I know my family is really looking forward to participating in the family camp, the campouts, and when the kids get older, I cannot wait to send them on the Raging River rafting trip. Oh, I did have one more question. What are fees for all of this? Like it
So
is
our fees are pretty minimal.
yeah.
So our hike, and also you can use respite and habilitation hours for funding. A lot of our programs are about 2 hours, so it's about two RSP or two hab hourly. And but for our private pay slash the public, it is about $10 for hiking, 15 for cycling, and 25 for kayaking. Our programs for camping range anywhere from 90 to about, I think, 220. 300 really just depends on how long the camping trip is, what are the activities, are we going anywhere outside, just our campground, like maybe we might go see Arizona or a museum or something else incorporated into it. So it really just depends. And then our river trips, I think that we try to keep it at a low, like 800 for adult for the River Rampage,
Mhm.
because we get a lot of grants to help with funding, and then 150 for our youth to 200 really for River Rampage, depending on our funding.
Wow.
And really, even those costs, you can get scholarship, and our scholarships can cover up to 75%. We do have the
Wow.
George Bonert Scholarship Fund, and right now there are a lot of scholarship funding, especially because of coronavirus and the pandemic. So that would be an awesome, huge opportunity for members that may not want to get involved because of income and finance right now because of everything that's happening. Because I know a lot of people have to be struggling, but we have a lot of money in our scholarship fund right now to make sure that people can get out there and break that social isolation and get involved after this pandemic.
That's incredible because a 6-night river trip
Right.
at 150, even if you're just paying
150.
$150, and then if you get a scholarship that's 75% off, that's an amazing value and an amazing
$50.
experience for those
Yeah,
kids. I'm blown
absolutely.
away. That's really wonderful. And I love that you guys have the DDD respite and habilitation option because I feel like that opens a lot of doors for people. So
Absolutely. And it also helps us too. A lot of agencies are for profit agencies. We're nonprofit, and all of our money goes straight back to all of our programs. So,
yeah,
like, we survive off of donors, and we're surviving off of this funding coming from DDD. And it's really just going straight back to the people that we serve.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that information, Sarah. I'm a part of the DRC. I love you guys. I love what you're doing, and just so happy to know you and Daring Adventures and all you add to the community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle, as well as you. And I can't wait to kind of get things rolling with us. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
I hope that you have enjoyed this educational webinar and you are all geared up and ready to have your own daring adventure. If you want more information like this, please consider becoming a DAMES member. You can go to our website at www.damesusa.com for more information on how to become a member. I hope you're having a wonderful day.